Scientology, of course, was created by L Ron Hubbard, who was originally an author of fiction and including science fiction. He created the Church of Scientology in 1953, died in, I think it was 1986. So the lore, of course, is that he did it solely to become rich. But do you think that during his years as head of the church, that Hubbard actually began to believe his own religion at some point, and even that he was some sort of messiah?
I think he always had a belief. He related an epiphany that he had in 1938 after having gone under some dental surgery, of having had an out-of-body experience and going through the tunnel of light and all that, and sort of experiencing this ultimate knowledge that he learned. And he came back having said that he retained that knowledge where others who have had similar experiences lost it. And he wasn't supposed to remember. And he wrote a book called Excalibur, or the Dark Sword, which he pitched around at that time, trying to get people on board with this amazing discovery that he made, or discoveries. And nobody was really particularly interested. And there's a lot of, talk about lore and legend connected with something. This book has all kinds of legend connected with it, because Hubbard claimed that some people read it and killed themselves. I mean, it was just kind of crazy.
This was before Scientology and Dianetics.
Oh yes, this is 1938.
Yeah.
So he thought, and he related to at least one person back then, that he thought it was going to be bigger than the Bible, and of course it wasn't, and it didn't take off, and nobody wanted to even publish it. So he put the whole thing away. And in the mid-1940s, he experimented with occultism and the OTO, the Ordo Templi Orientis, and Aleister Crowley's group. He never met Aleister Crowley. He called Crowley a friend of his, even though Crowley despised him. And they never met in person. Mm-hmm. But he did work with a guy named Jack Parsons, who was a JPL rocket scientist in Pasadena, California. Oddly, 5 minutes from where I grew up in Pasadena. I used to deliver papers right by the house that Hubbard practiced black magic in.
Wow.
And it was pretty amazing. And of course, not while he was doing it, because he was doing this in the mid-1940s. And the church doesn't even deny that he did this. Right? Because it's so documented. I mean, there's just no way around saying that Hubbard was practicing black magic. And he made some personal notes and wrote things down that were discovered years later, which makes it very clear that that even in his personal writings, Hubbard believed this stuff. He believed in a guardian spirit. He believed in the power of this spell casting and whatnot to affect his life. And he was a big believer in personal will and determination and self-determination. And that was what he was doing the whole OTO thing for. So that didn't really work out for him, though, because he ended up stealing Jack Parsons' girlfriend and trying to scam Parsons out of tens of thousands of dollars before Parsons caught on and busted him. And so then Hubbard decided to do it himself. And he came up with Dianetics, working with some people in New Jersey and New England, including, I'm trying to remember the guy's name, editor John Joseph Campbell, editor of Astounding Science Fiction, who was a publisher that Hubbard was working for, but who also was buying into Hubbard's nonsense about how the mind works. And so Hubbard decided to enter into this field through mental health, and he wrote Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health. Now, Hubbard had all kinds of personal issues he was trying to deal with, and it's very likely or possible, no one can really say that what I'm about to say is not true, that he was trying to resolve his own personal issues through the methods of Dianetics. In addition to writing a book where he finally got a bestseller, finally made it big, and started this runaway movement that took off across America, which he had bankrupted twice within 2 years.
Wow.
I mean, Hubbard was horrible with money. He just spent it as fast as he got it, didn't care about it, didn't particularly seem to care that much about people either, based on how he was running things. You know, he would use people and then cast them aside when they were no longer of use to him. And this was just an ongoing pattern in his life.